Hello, all you awesome people out there, all you villains in the making. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din coming at you with another review of My Hero Academia. This time it's chapter 222, titled Tomura Shigaraki, Distortion. And first off, we have to talk about this cover page, which immediately took me off guard because it's Deku as a kaiju, specifically Mothra, which just, what? Just, what? I mean, is this the whole idea of him like developing and blossoming into a new hero and all that? It just really took me off guard when I saw it. But the real crux of this episode is in fact the backstory for Tomura Shigaraki. And instead of having Tomura Shigaraki origin, like we saw for other characters, it's Tomura Shigaraki Distortion, and it's based off of the distorted world view that he's had from his background. And he goes on to say that he doesn't quite remember much about his past before he met the Doctor and All for One. And whenever he wears the various hands he has all over his body, he feels this type of rage boiling within him. And he thinks back to that day when he was first discovered by All for One. And we get that spiel we had before where he's just like, so nobody bothered to come and help you and save you. They all just turned away thinking that the heroes would take care of it. That mentality that the hero society kind of leaves people very dependent on what they would do instead of actually making choices for themselves. At least that's the perspective that I feel that this, a few moments in this series have given off. Like, that's the downfall of hero society, that it makes people very dependent on how heroes do things and operate and go about things in the world at large. But, when he was taken in by All for One, he felt like he was accepted. He felt like he was made whole by One for All being there for him, taking him away from, all the death and destruction he was surrounded by and putting him in a, fairly nice room. But then we have this moment that really just took me off guard, as we have the Doctor who, out and out, now we've full on just dropped all pretenses. He is the Doctor who told Izuku that he does not have a quirk, he should just give up on it. And it still gets me that such an offhand moment. It just drives home all these theories about what exactly the Doctor might have done to Izuku and how Izuku might have had his quirk stolen by All for One. But he brings in on a cart the various hands of his family members that he accidentally disintegrated with his mutation quirk that suddenly developed. And they say it's just like, yeah, you went to murder your family with your own hands. And then Tomura just has these flashes and he starts freaking out. And we actually see a little bit of why he starts kind of scratching away at his neck sometimes when he's even in a very anxiety-inducing situation. And it's just because that's just, what he does when he's in a very stressful situation. Almost like he's trying to, claw out his own, neck or something with his own abilities and powers. But, he just really just has this breakdown. It's just like, and I'm just thinking, like, why would you even do that? Why would you ever do that? It's bad enough the kid was in such a bad situation where he killed his own family, which I immediately question that, as it feels that All for One had some involvement in this. I don't feel like it, we would have out and out gotten just, from point A to point B what happened in Tomura Shigaraki's past, but the fact that he has fragmented memories of what happened when he apparently disintegrated his family immediately makes me feel like there's more to it than just, oops, he accidentally did it when his mutation developed. Nah. It's like, pull the other leg, man. But the doctor asks, All For One, it's just like, should I tinker around with the boy? But All For One's like, no. With his emotion and his memories and all that good stuff, even if his memories don't return, his emotions will, and he should keep that in his heart, and with that he'll be able to teach Tomura Shigaraki how to direct and where to direct those emotions. And, Tomura Shigaraki even goes on to say, it's just like, when I'm wearing all these hands from all my relatives, which I immediately question that as well, but when he wears all these hands, he feels his skin crawling and he feels like he's just gonna barf right then and there. But it also creates this calming feeling within his being as well. It's kind of like a safety blanket to a certain degree. And even with all these fragmented memories, he still feels like he has something within him that makes him feel satisfied, but he also feels like it's weighing down on him, that because of that there's this inextinguishable anger that just burns within him. So just all these conflicted, rampant feelings just welling within his very being. And he never feels quite relieved no matter what he truly does. It doesn't allow him any form of rest. And, he even goes on to say, it's just like, even though we've started to create the downfall of hero society with our actions, even when I became the new ruler of the underground by taking out One For All, this feeling of just discomfort, of heaviness within my being won't go away. And it's just like, this feeling of hate within his very soul. We're developing his mindset of just, of anarchy, I think it's nihilism is the word, but he has this want to just destroy everything. When he just sees people happy, playing, having fun, just enjoying life, he just thinks, I hate this. I want to destroy this, to end this. And whether it just comes from a sense of malice because of his background, or whether it's something that was in him with all along, is very much all up in the air. It's the fact that he can't remember his background that makes you wonder if there's more to the feelings that he has. But he's just like, hey, Doc, lend me a hand, and I will show you both heaven and hell on Earth. And, we even have Spinner just thinking to this moment. It's just like, it feels like Spinner just was caught off guard by everything that Tomura Shigaraki had to say. And it really just makes me wonder, was that a good thing or a bad thing? How does Spinner truly feel about this whole situation? Because it's very obvious they're leading to something with Spinner by having him be the, centralized point for this kind of commentary, for this backstory here. But the doctor just kind of gives out a laugh, and it's just like, I was wondering what weird thing you were gonna say, but very well, I'll lend you my power, lend you all the aid I possibly can. The whole point is to give villains the ability to, make their nonsense a reality for the most part. But then we even have, what's her name? Stabby chick, transform bullshit. She basically asks, Toga Himiko. Oof, so bad with names, but she asks, it's just like, will you also want to destroy the very things that we love as well? But Shigaraki's like, if I will make my allies' wishes an exception to my destruction, which pleases to Himiko Toga. But the doctor's just like, you're a little bit crazier than I thought. But he states that I was always gonna help you out in the end of things, just to at the very least show off my power and my abilities and all that good stuff. I've even prepared a special power just for you. However, he says that he won't hand it over just yet because he feels that the whole of them are just too weak to truly change things, to truly impact the world. And he's just like, you need your villain academia. You need to improve. And the best thing to do would be to bring Gigantomachia to submission, to make him recognize you and obey you, of his own volition. You gotta bring this beast to heel. And Tomura's just like, well, alright then. It's been a tutorial. The tutorial for this game was pretty long, but it's finally start leveling up. Get a little bit of a boss battle going for the most part. And that's Tomura Shigaraki's whole coping mechanism, I guess, or the way he just views the world as kind of a game. One in which he needs to level up slowly. But Dabi's having none of this shit. Saying like, listen, you're on your own for this, leader. And he's just like, I have something I need to do. I might have found a good ally that we could probably use pretty desperately. And she basically goes on to say he has no love lost for his leader or even what the leader, wants to do with his life. It's like Dabi is looking out for number one, first and foremost. Shigaraki's just like, do whatever you need to do. I'll look forward to meeting this new ally, which we all know because of, in the real time, that person was revealed to be Hawks. And we even have the moment where the doctor's just like, Dabi, I think we are on the same wavelength for the most part. And we see the moment where he's just like, I want you to do a test run of the high-end Nomu, just to get a little bit of, data from what it's able to do for the most part. And so he hands over these kind of contact buttons, earbuds, whatever. I'm not sure exactly what they are. But we also end up seeing the actual creature that does that teleportation. This little miniature frog-like creature, that spews out this black liquid. It's really funky to look at. Just ew. But Tomura Shigaraki and his crew are brought back to Gigantomachia. Tomura's just like, your king has returned. And Gigantomachia gives this little comment. It's just like, the king is one who inspires fear. Everyone wishes they could be king. The king is someone strong. So it's just like he needs to show Gigantomachia his strength. And then we get a final closing narration by Spinner, who's just like, sorry for the long explanation, but our battle against Gigantomachia began. But that's not the main subject. The main subject of how the League of Villains was soon destroyed. So, and it's even hinted that the whole, the president of that hero support group, what was it? The group is called Talented. I don't remember how to pronounce it. It was so hard to pronounce, but it was Talented spelled backwards. We're given hints that the president with like this gooey lump of flesh on the ground, I think might have been Giran. I think he killed Giran, and it's hinted that the protagonist of this story arc will actually be the League of Villains, whereas that hero support clothing company will actually be the villain of this story arc. So it'll be very interesting to actually have an entire story just dedicated to the League of Villains. But, ultimately, I wonder, where are we going to go with all this? How will the League of Villains actually develop? It was very interesting to see Tomura Shigaraki's backstory, but it was one a few people kind of guessed at for the most part. Just that Tomura Shigaraki's quirk developed, he accidentally disintegrated his entire family and the hands were the remains of it. We were given clues to that throughout the entire series. But, it's good to have confirmation and just the insight into Tomura Shigaraki's headspace for the most part. But it still feels like he needs a lot of development, which is exactly what the doctor said. So I have to hope that we actually do end up seeing some very interesting stuff from Tomura Shigaraki as we move forward. But hey, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about delving into Tomura Shigaraki's ideals, his backstory, and where he wants to go from here on out with an entire viewpoint of just mass destruction on a wide scale? And hey, if you like this video, feel free to leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike and tell me what I did wrong in the comment section below. And hey, how about subscribing? Because I'll definitely be bringing you more villainous chapter reviews of My Hero Academia. And find me on any social media links by just googling my name, Duuz-Diz-Din. But until the next video, take care, and I will see all you villains in the next one. Farewell.